He'll come back in.
Okay, we're live. Okay.
All right, gentlemen, congratulations.
Okay,
you won.
everyone, you're all welcome once we are here. Wait a second, let me introduce everyone to this before you start going off. So today we are reviewing the North London Derby, a bit later than usual, but better late than never. And before I introduce our special guests, we've got MK back with us in NDD. Fellow Gunners, holla at the regular people again, boys. Excellent, excellent. So today, as I said, we've got a special guest, Ndiwe Mukelebai. It's also, sorry if I butchered the surname, bro. It's also
No,
his
no, you got it
birthday
right.
today. Excellent. It's also
Happy
his birthday
birthday.
today.
Happy
baby.
birthday.
Happy birthday
Appreciate
to
it.
you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Top guy.
But
Top guy.
it's a good sport. It's a good sport to come on, given the result on Sunday, to actually come and analyze the game. So I want to rate you for that first and foremost, and also on your birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
That's double ratings. That's double ratings. I won't front about that.
Take a bow,
But
son.
before we get into that,
Take a bow,
take a
son.
bow indeed. So Arsenal lad, should we let him actually go first and open up with what he thought happened in that game, since it's his birthday and he's coming on? Should we give him that
Agree,
honor?
Olu. I think it's only fair. I think it's only fair that we
All
let
right.
him kind of give us his thoughts on the game rather than us boasting about the win and the goals. It would be nice to hear his thoughts about his own team's performance.
All right then. So
All right,
Deeds,
gentlemen.
as you've rightly
Yeah.
put your alias, analyze. Off you go.
All right, so here we go. I think we scored probably the goal of the season. There's talk of us winning the Pushkas Award for another season after we won it last year with Sun. There's talk of Lamella winning it again. For that first goal, like the Rabona. The flick heard around the world. But honestly, what I think happened was our players didn't show up. Pains me to say we didn't show up in the first half, and Mourinho set out on the side. Like he picked like an attacking team. He picked Lucas he picked Lucas. He picked Kane. He picked Son. He picked Gareth Bale. He picked Dombele, and they just didn't seem to have the stomach for it. Bale wouldn't help out Doherty, and Arsenal. One of the Arsenal coaches actually. Like I don't know if you guys are aware. He coaches for Wales as well. He's an assistant manager of the Welsh team. So early in the season, when Bale went away with Wales, Mourinho said this is unfair because he's going to gain an insight into our player before we play Arsenal, and it's not fair for us. So clearly, this guy knew that Bale doesn't have the legs to track back anymore, and that they probably realized that this guy can't come back. So they realized we're going to attack the right back and just keep going because Bale either isn't willing or isn't physically able to track back anymore. And Arsenal knew that and exploited it over and over and over.
I don't mean to stop you mid-flow, but I don't think it has nothing to do with the Welsh coach. Anytime you can watch a Tottenham game, you realise Bell doesn't track back. I don't think we had any special inside info because one of the coaches at Arsenal also is the coach of Wales. You don't need any inside info. You can literally watch a game and tell what Bale does and what he doesn't do. Let's not use that as an excuse. We had inside info. Come on now. Come on.
Okay, I'm just listen. I'm just setting the table
that's,
here.
That's your first excuse in. No, but
now
I'm giving kind of excuses. That's a good one though. But cool.
Listen, I'm just setting the table. So Arsenal knew that, and if you look at the goal, which came through Doherty, because once again he was beaten easily, 2-on-1 cross came. You guys scored fair play. And I think, but honest, what I think happened, I think has been symptomatic of us all season in certain matches where when we went top of the league, everyone remembers, November the 15th when they beat Man City 2-0, where I think City didn't lose another game for 26 matches after that, but we beat them 2-0.
But
Anyway.
DZ, it's more. Let's come back to the actual performance on the
day.
Let's
one second. Yes, okay.
Let him finish. Let him
so
finish. He's giving us lots of ammo, by the way, but let him finish.
It's been symptomatic of us. I think when we went top of the league,
there's a whole story to a 90-minute game, but it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, so when we went top of the league, our players fell into a pattern where we would score and then we'd just sit back. It doesn't matter who we're playing against. And recently it looked like we'd struck that pattern. We're back to attacking people again. But then on Sunday, it's like
Yeah.
they just thought, okay, the first 10 minutes, let's sit in, let's suck in Arsenal, take the pressure, then start to hit you back. And then that just never happened. You know, so fair play. You guys were probably the better team on the day. I'll give you, I'll give you a deal. It was disappointing for us. Especially for a passionate fan like myself, it hurt, you know.
But Olu, can I answer some of the things that he's commented? Sorry, Double DC, I'm sure you've got a couple of things to say, but can I just respond back to a couple of the comments?
Go on, Mo.
Go for it, MK.
Yeah. So, DC, the whole Bale thing, I've watched a lot of analysis, and nobody was really pointing out about Bale not tracking back, because I don't think Bale and Son are set up to track back. It's more your two workhorse midfielders that do the covering. Every analysis I saw was Ndombele and Højbjerg having to cover, not Bale not tracking back. I don't know if that's because they're giving him a pass because it's Bale, and, you know, Bale and Kane don't get criticised for not tracking back. But I don't think Spurs are set up like that, where your wide men track back and cover your fullbacks. It's more your midfielders that go out and cover those holes. Everything that I saw was Højbjerg couldn't keep up with the pace of Smith Rowe when he was making those runs behind Doherty. And then Ndombele, that's not really in his game to be tracking back runners. He's much more creative, much more expressive going forward. So I think that Bale is a bit of an excuse. And then even if he's not tracking back, he didn't really offer anything going forward. It's not like you could say, okay, he wasn't pulling a shift, but he was doing the damage going forward. So, you know, the fullback was being pinned. Tierney just had the free will to go forward. So you can't really say, you know, the whole tracking back thing. So that's one excuse covered. The other thing is I know there's plenty of talk of, you know, you guys playing at home in Europa. We were traveling away. If anything, you look like the tired team. And you actually played at home and didn't travel. We went to Greece. We played away. We traveled back. We should have been much more tired. And I think that's the only reason that you had the upper hand in the last 15 minutes, because we actually really tired and nerves kicked in. I think other than the 10, 15 minutes at the end of the game, I don't think Spurs were in it at all. I don't think you dominated. I don't think you created many clear-cut chances. The goal, amazing goal. Can't really deny it. 9 out of 10 times that gets, you know, goes over the bar, gets hit by someone. That's a 1 in a chance that goal goes in. That's my only, and you know, you got lucky with that, to be honest. And I think, you know, the score could have been easily 3-1, 4-1 by the end of the game. And
for some reason,
just one last point. I know you set up an attacking team, but this is typical Mourinho. You know, you look great against the smaller teams, the Palaces, the Fulhams. You look great going forward, but as soon as he comes up against a big team, he thinks the 90s tactics of sitting back, playing on the counter-attack works. That doesn't work anymore against the big teams. Big teams know how to play through that. The smaller teams might struggle because you've got quality up front. But against the bigger teams, those tactics don't work, as proven against Liverpool, as proven against Chelsea, City, and now Arsenal as well. So I think it's more of the philosophy thing that Jose has about kind of, he thinks he can win big games with those tactics. I don't think that's a way forward for you guys.
Can I reply?
Go for it. Go for it.
All right. So to Mo's point regarding, I mean, I think we played Man United. We scored 6 at Old Trafford. You know, we beat Man City 2-0.
How many men? Did Man United get a man sent off after 10 minutes?
No, it was about 40. But I'd already.
Come on.
You know what? These.
A whole half.
Nah, but still, you know, like we still scored 6 goals at Old Trafford. You know, like we beat you 2-0, wasn't it? And we and we also beat Man City. So clearly the tactics work sometimes. You know.
Okay. I'm glad that you said that, because I wanted to know where you were going with this. But that's cool. All right, and you want to respond to any of his comments?
Yes, I want to respond. Regarding Bale not tracking back and Ndombele, and if you look at before, the reason why he wasn't playing Bale was because he was playing Steven Bergwijn. And Bergwijn, one thing about him is he's very energetic. He goes back, like he's constantly sprinting back and forth. But then we played Liverpool in December, and Bergwijn missed, I think, 2 really massive chances. He basically missed 2 1-on-1s, and we haven't seen him in the team since. He hasn't started an important match for us since then. And the thing, he was playing ahead of Bell because of his energy, because he could cover the fullbacks. He could literally sprint. He could sprint from box to box, game after game. He's got so much energy. But the thing about Bell is Bell's meant to be, because Bell's a playmaker as well, and he's also a finisher. The thing about Bergwijn is that he's not a very good finisher. He's still quite raw. He reminds me a lot of Saka, like in a lot of ways, where like he's still very much of a, very much of a young diamond. Lots of potential, but like he's not where he's going to be in about 5 years. Saka's an improving player. Don't get me wrong. I think Bergwijn's also. like a young. They're both in the same bracket of lots of potential. But like Bell, the idea is Bell. He's got a big match pedigree, and we thought he's going to bring it, because I mean, if you look at previous North London derbies where Bell's dominated, like in the past, so you probably thought this is that this is a big game. That's a big game player, but he just. He offers nothing off the ball. And
sorry to cut you
I know
off,
Bell's
but
stats are pretty good in the North London derby, but how many has he won? If he's dominated that many North London derbies, that's
true.
I haven't got those numbers to hand.
I think he's won one. I think he's won 1 out of 6.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One thing you can't deny
he's got a
is
decent
he's
record of
normally
scoring
always
goals. No worries.
he's normally always hungry for those games. Gareth Bell, like back in the days. In the North London derbies, back in the days before he went Real Madrid, he was one of the Tottenham players I was worried about when we played the North London derbies. So I was very surprised at how he took this game. Yes, I know it's not the same Bell from 6-7 years ago, but I was very surprised at his lack of interest in this derby. Because he really, even when he got subbed off, he was like, so I'm still getting paid. That's what it looked like to me. Like I just didn't.
And I think Jose called him out. He said some of the big players were hiding. I think he actually said that. I don't know if he was pointing at Kane or Bale, but he mentioned those words, and that could only mean
that's how Jose normally calls people out. So yeah, he probably did.
Yeah.
No, they were. And once again, Arsenal's players, you guys were hungry. You wanted it more. I'll give you that. But the thing with us, which is what I'm saying about this is symptomatic of them being before Mourinho. If you look at the Champions League final, where Perla was analyzing the game, and he said some of Tottenham players were hiding again. He was talking about Eriksen, Dele Alli, and he said Tottenham's players didn't want the ball in the Champions League final against Liverpool. They didn't want the responsibility. I don't know what it is. There's something that we have to deal with within our own locker room of players. When the moment gets really big, they don't seem to want the pressure, basically. And Sunday shouldn't have been, no disrespect, but we'd won 5 games in a row. I had a lot of people who had money on Tottenham, who had my Spurs fans, on Spurs at least winning or getting a draw against you guys. So Sunday shouldn't really have been a big game for us. I mean, in terms of pressure-wise, we should have been able to think Arsenal have been up and down. You guys have had good moments, but then you've had, I think, games where you've drawn recently where you should have probably hoped to win. So you guys have been an up and down team this season. So we should have been thinking, right, we won 5 games in a row. We have a chance to get within 3 points of Chelsea. Let's go do it. And I was a lot of Spurs fans were really angry. So it is what it is. Olo, what are your thoughts on the?
I'm not going to repeat anything that people have said, and we've more or less responded to yours, so I won't repeat on that. But here's how I saw the game. Like you said, it's clear that hunger was there from the Arsenal players. But one thing I'll say is that, like you said, they didn't do anything totally new or way out the box in the games they played well, aka not trying to belittle Tottenham. Let's be honest. Compared to the Wenger days, this is more of a close fought game now. You can almost say 50-50. Let's be honest. And it was competitive in the Wenger eras, but there was just a much more superior team. Now I think it was Poch's last season, or maybe second to last season, whereby you could argue the Tottenham team on paper was a bit more superior than the Arsenal team. To give it to you now. I think they're evenly matched. And I think because of the type of manager we have, who perhaps is more suited for today's football, if both teams do their best, and let's even say sometimes Mourinho's where he doesn't totally sit back the last few minutes, I'm pretty much sure he got a message to them saying, go for it now. He probably knows his team can't handle that 90 minutes. but we saw the best of your going for it for 10 minutes. And if you'd done that for 9 minutes, no disrespect, I think Arsenal would have still come away with that W if they were at their best. But we also know that Arsenal can give stuff away, can make a few mistakes, which they started to do. I think that Arteta will get that out of the players eventually, but for this season, maybe we're going to see a few more of those moments. So I think overall you saw that. I think Smith Rowe, given management by Sky Sports, was rightly so. It was a shame his shot hit the bar, but Kane's also hit the post. It's a shame Cedric's also hit the post. I do think if you look at it, and those who play football here, you will know this. If Cedric wasn't slightly pushed, that could have gone in. He's actually hitting that shot off balance, and it still hit the post. But anyway, this is football. It happens. The Rabona, I do want to mention it like the guys did. Excellent. When it actually went in, I thought to myself, how did he score that with his right foot? And then we looked at it again, and it was like oh, he's used the good foot of his to actually hit it. Makes sense. So well done to Lamela, and he has done it 7 years before, which means that, as every good footballer should, when you see something on, try it. There's not always an overhead kick on every game or super volley. If it comes up and you got it in your locker, go for it. But I do think that this is one of the reasons why a lot of us say that eventually good players will either leave Tottenham or leave Jose. Because if you're a baller, you don't want to be playing in that kind of tactic, game after game after game. We saw Son even say it on one of, to go back into a bit of history on one of your Amazon documentaries. How can we be playing like this all the time? How can we be playing like this? That kind of a guy, if he wants to go to the next level and you guys come trophyless again and someone wants to buy him, which I don't think anyone will, I'm just being honest. I'm not so sure someone wants to buy him this summer, because you're looking around, you got the Mbappes, you got the Haalands, the Sanchos, the other people. Where does Son fit in a more top 5 club in England or in Europe? Not sure he does. So Mourinho has to consider whether he's just here to take his pay and just collect, or maybe hope to get back into Inter or Real again, because he's not doing anything for you guys going forwards.
He doesn't want to get sacked by a Premier League club, mate. Imagine that. Getting sacked by 3 Premier League clubs.
There'll be nowhere else for him to go. Double D.
Portugal or England. England will be crazy enough to give it to Jose.
Yeah, but then he'll end up managing a team like West Ham or Southampton. It'll be a mid-table team. Like Rafa Benitez. Rafa did the whole thing. He went Liverpool, Chelsea, and just ended up in a mid-table team eventually. So that's what will happen. So just one last comment on the Lamela thing. Great goal doesn't make you a great player. You need consistency to be a great player. And you know how I feel about
Lamela. He did get sent off as well. Didn't he get a red card afterwards?
Yeah.
He went from 0 to 0, bro.
Exactly. And DZ,
the thing about Lamela, he's a player who scores great goals. He's not a great player. I'll give you that. Regarding Mourinho as a whole, I think when you say that he'll been sacked by 3 clubs, that's one way to look at it. You can also look at it like he'll have won trophies at 3 clubs if things work out this season with it. And they said no managers won trophies with 3 English teams. If he does that this summer, then he's won 3 trophies with 3 English teams. Then you got to tip him and just says, no one can take my medals away from me.
No, it's true.
If you look at, for example, at the end of the day, the aim of the game is to win medals, right? And we're in a final, and we're joint favorites in the Europa League. So, like, you can argue that he's doing his job. If we win the Europa League, which is I'd probably say about 40% chance. If we do that, then we're into the Champions League. We're going to win a trophy for the first time in 12 years. And so you can argue when Son was in the Amazon video, if you look at the context of the game, what he's talking about, it was a game when we were leading, and it was a game where our defense basically blew up again. And he comes into the dressing room and he's hot because it's like, we can't keep on doing this. If you look at, there was a game when we played Man United actually 3 years ago, it was semi-finals, FA Cup. We score first. Dele Alli scores an incredible goal. He goes and does a little like dance in the corner. And then anyway, Mourinho comes back and Man United beat us and we lose the game. So Dele Alli says after the game, we can't keep on doing this. We can't keep on having these moments and then the other team comes back. We can't keep on doing this. That's what he said. And that was in Pochettino. So once again, I don't think it's fair to put all of that on Mourinho. This has been happening to us for a long time. But I think
Okay.
at the same time, you shouldn't judge a meal that's still being cooked halfway. The season isn't over yet. If we finish the season with no trophies and we finish outside the top 4, then then you can argue he's failed. But if we win a trophy or two and we make the Champions League, successful season. And people say that his tactics are obsolete. But if you look at the fact that like his last club, how they're doing about him, he won 3 trophies at that club, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a progressive manager who plays the right way, has won nothing, and he gets no criticism for it. And so this dinosaur that people said is outdated, can't coach anymore. For people like Marcus Rashford, the only trophies have won have come under him. Pogba,
okay.
like
That's a very relevant point.
That's a valid point. That's a valid point.
And at the end of the day, like
reason...
like some people look. So, for example, I mean, I'm not saying that those guys won't win again. They will. They're such a big club. They'll keep spending money and they'll get it right eventually, whether under Solskjaer or not. But if their career is finished right now, Rashford will look back and think, yeah, that year when we finished second and we won the FA Cup and we won the Europa League, best year of my career. And that came under Mourinho. So, like, at the end of the day, I think it's not fair to judge him like mid-season. I think there's an agenda within. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Just people don't like the man. It is what it is.
Okay.
So people want to like no other managers want to get judged like before.
One moment. I don't want to make it about Jose. I've only
I'm just saying that. I'm just running to a point.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't, like, you have to wait until the season ends to call it a failure or success. And I think we're still on track. So if we don't win anything and we finish outside the top 4, then he's failed clearly. So we'll see.
Which is fair enough. So here's how I want to.
Can I ask, what are as Arsenal fans, what are you guys expecting from Arteta this season? What are the goals?
Can I answer that, please? Can I answer that?
Before you answer that, NWD. Before you answer that, I want to wrap up the derby because I know where he's trying to go to. He's trying to take shots early. So let's finish Before we answer that question, let me bring it to this then, guys. So I'm glad that you were quite honest and you were quite sporting in your acknowledgement that the better team won. And let's just have one last thing. I'm gonna go first. I've seen those penalties given. I've seen them not given. I think Arsenal were wasteful and should have scored other goals so that wasn't the winning goal. But that's Arsenal for you. I think if they didn't get that penalty, I reckon they would have gone on to score another goal the way they were playing. This is how football happens sometimes. There's some games whereby you're trying, you don't score. On Sunday, it was just one of those games whereby one of these chances were going in. Even look at how Odegaard's goal went in. It wasn't a clean strike, but it ends up going in. It was just one of those days that one of those shots were going to go in. They hit the bar, they hit the post. Yeah. Now, I've seen those penalties given. I've seen them not given. And you
could say the same thing about the Spurs.
Yeah.
And Olu, just on that, you could say the same thing about the Spurs goal as well. It's a bit of a freak as well. Even though our goal might have been a deflection, their goal was a complete freak as well. So it kind of evens itself out in terms of how the goals came.
Itself out.
Yeah.
Now here's my take on the penalty situation. If Sanchez wasn't rash, there's no need for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Lacazette could have still sliced it. So I am actually happy that a ref gives that pen because other defenders will be thinking to themselves now, let me be careful as to how I'm going on. He does need to work on his rashness. So I actually support the penalty being given. But if it wasn't given, I would have supported the referee as well. That's my take on that. Deez, what are you saying about the pen?
Yeah, Sanchez was he had a hairbrain moment. He had a hairbrain moment. I mean, people blame the refs, but I'm like, at the end of the day, don't put yourself in that position. So, like, as a defender, don't put yourself in that. Don't even give the ref the option. There's just no need. So, like, yeah, that's all on Sanchez. I don't blame him. I don't blame the ref.
It was avoidable. It was very avoidable.
Okay, go on then. Go on, NWD. What's your verdict on that pen?
I agree. It was very avoidable. I think Sanchez only has himself to blame. To be honest, I wouldn't even say the referee gave us the penalty. I'd say Sanchez gave us the penalty. That was his own doing.
Man, I like the way you said that. MK?
Yeah.
MK, your verdict on the pen?
What's been said in terms of how that pen... Yeah, I agree in terms of what's been said. The pen, Sanchez was more to blame than anyone. And also, you know how I feel about referees and the lack of decisions we've had. So that is 1 in kind of 10 against us now that we've
Yeah,
had.
1 in 10 that
I'll
we
take
now
it
get.
all day.
Yeah.
I'll
I
take
heard that.
any day.
I heard that. I heard that too. All
You know
right,
what? Before
then.
you guys
So
wrap up, I think there's gonna be a third game. I think we'll see you guys again this season.
there's a
In
good
Europa.
chance. There's a good
Europa
chance
is in it.
Europa it could
I'm pretty
happen.
sure we'll see you again,
There's a good chance
Definitely
it could
Europa.
happen. A very
and I
good
think
chance.
that's going to be very
Now,
interesting.
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
it will.
It will be very interesting.
By the way, if we
Two
do
legs.
meet you again, whether it's the final, over
Unless-
2 legs is where I give Spurs a chance. The final, I think, will do you. Over 2 legs, I give Spurs more of a chance, but I'll still put Arsenal down as favourite.
A Tottenham fan I know actually said that. He reckons if we meet them in the Europa, Arsenal are going to win. That's what a Tottenham fan said. Yeah, my next door neighbour. That's what he thinks. So I don't know. Who knows?
All right,
We'll see.
Okay, so
We'll
let's
see.
answer. We'll see, because it's football. Anything can happen. You know, we could have a player do a harebrained moment. We know that's not past Arsenal. So let's answer these questions before we wrap up.
It could be any of our players.
Exactly. Let's answer these question. What are the expectations of Arteta this season? NWD, you go first. What does he have to do?
Bro, for me, the damage has already been done this season. As far as the league goes, I guess the most I can hope for is we finish in the top half of the table. Domestically, obviously the Europa League. I'm still not 100% sure. Where are we in that as far as favourites? I know they said Tottenham are joint favourites. Does anyone know where
I think
Arsenal?
I think they got Spurs and Man United as joint, and then you guys are probably third, I think.
I'm not expecting the Europa League. I actually think a season out of Europe might be a blessing in disguise for us, because the damage has been done. There's teams above us who have played less games than us. I don't even know what's going to happen this season. I'm not expecting much. As long as we don't finish bottom, and that's not me not caring or not being a loyal Arsenal fan. For me, the damage has just been done too much already. And all we can do now is just try and finish as high as we can. My focus is on next season, when hopefully Arteta can bring in the players he wants. There's still players that are there that need to go, basically. So I hope all that gets sorted. And yeah, my expectation starts from next season. This season, I'm not really expecting much. Anything is a bonus at this point for me.
Go ahead, MK.
Yeah, kind of, similar vibes to you, NWD. It's kind of, this season's kind of, we've been playing catch up, and I've said it to you as well, Lou. I don't think our squad is big enough to be able to challenge on all of these fronts. Obviously, we're out of the cups early this season, and Europa is kind of our last hope. We're back into the Champions League. So yeah, for me, I'm in the same vein. Unless our squad is deeper and better quality, not just deeper with more men, but it needs to have the quality to be able to go into Europe and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe a season out of Europe, let the team really focus, let the youngsters bed in, because I've seen progress, and as we've said, the fundamentals of the team are there for me. The signings of Partey, Gabriel, the emergence of Emmitt Smith-Rowe and Saka. The foundations are there. Obviously, like we've said, we need to cut out those silly mistakes. We're losing too many points on those, those brain fart moments for some of these players. And I see progress. We're a harder team to beat. Yeah, I think we're like the third least conceded goals in the whole of the league, behind City and can't remember who the other team is. Might be Villa actually, but yeah. So there's definitely progress. I think we just need to carry on this momentum into the next season. I don't want it just to filter out. I don't really care where we finish, but I don't want it to go out on a dampener. Even if we lose a couple of games, I just want to see progress and momentum to carry on to the next season. Really.
Yeah. Here's mine. Agree with both of you, but I'm gonna judge Arteta a bit harshly. I think this season, and even though it's not been totally his fault, the league form, the players are very culpable. I now, even though I don't think they'll get to the Europa League final because there's better teams, but I am expecting from him he has to get to that final, because in getting to the final, he has a chance to qualify for the CL. I don't think they will, but if I'm his boss, if I'm Edu, if I'm those guys, I'm saying, look, get to the final. Whatever happens to the final, if you get there, great. If you don't, we understand. That's what I'd be saying. But I'm using my football knowledge and experience to agree with what MK and NWD say. But I'm
Nah, I hear
thinking
you.
to
I hear you.
myself, if Arsenal
Yeah.
want to be competitive or want to show the world and show potential players that look, you know, we're not a Champions League team unless we get more players and balance out that squad. But if you're thinking of let's say who should Arsenal be getting, like a Yves Bissouma from Brighton, if they're going to be getting Buendia from Norwich, if they're not going to get Odegaard, and I think he's now doing a lot better. I think they should keep him at least minimum loan again next season, minimum. If they don't want to buy him, they want to use the money for other areas, and they have more money the following season to buy him outright, and then buy a right back. They're looking at Hakimi from Inter or Lamptey from Brighton. Whoever they're looking at, these players, they may not be your Champions League form players now, but combined, they could be. So if you want to make a statement to those players, let those players see that they either win the Europa League or get to at least the semi-final, is close, or the final of those competitions. Then you're saying we're back in. The league, like you guys said, is done. That would be it for me.
Olu,
So what do you reckon of our answers, these? So go on then, Double.
Don't get me wrong. I still want to see Arsenal fighting this season. You know, I want to see them playing like they give a crap. You know, I'm just saying that I don't expect much with the damage that's already been done. But I completely hear you.
Yeah.
If Arteta's got that target to try and at least get to the semi-final or final, keeps the players hungry. It shows determination, sign of what could be next season. I hear you there still. I hear you.
Yeah. Excellent. So these, what do you reckon of our answers then?
Man,
I mean, to be honestly, I think Arteta probably bought himself some time by winning the FA Cup last year. So he probably put some credit in the bank with that. But I think this season, I think for you guys, I think from a financial perspective, I think being in Europe will help. But at the same time, I think next season, once we get fans back, I think it's going to go back to a bit more normality in the Premier League. In terms of, like, from what I've seen of other sports, for example, like basketball and American football, is you got average players that play in well with no fans because there's no expectations, there's no pressure, which is why I think teams like Aston Villa are where they are. Southampton had that run where they went to the top of the league early in the season and whatnot. But I think once fans come back and that pressure comes back from other fans, not just your own fans, but the opposing fans as well, I think, like certain teams are going to elevate, and because I think that's why the better players are where they are, because they handle pressure better than other players. You know, Kane gave an interview over the weekend when he's talking to some young kid on the Spurs page, and he said how, like, I got to where I am because I'm able to handle pressure and I'm able to maintain my head in most situations. I'm able to just keep doing what I'm doing. It's like I don't let the outside world affect me, whether it's going out, partying, socializing, drinking. I don't do any of that. And he said other players tend to cave into that pressure. And I think once fans come back, I think teams like Southampton or Aston Villa won't be where they are, because I think that pressure from your own fans. West Ham is a big example where, like, the fans create a lot of pressure for their own players. A, because they don't like the stadium, and B, just because there just seems to be, I don't know what it is about West Ham, but there's a lot of tension at that club just generally, it seems. And so I think once the fans come back and that pressure comes back in, I think next season is going to be, the bigger teams are going to probably do better than they've done this season. But I think financially, I think it's going to help you guys if you're in Europe somehow. But yeah. So it's probably a mixture. I think him winning the FA Cup brought him some credit with his employers, but at the same time, for recruitment of players, in terms of if you want to attract better players for next season, it'll help if you're in Europe. But at the same time, if you're not in Europe, I guess if you're playing one game a week, it means that Arteta can coach the players all week. There's no traveling, like none of that. You're just playing one game a week, and so it could have its benefits as well. So yeah, but I mean, I hope you're not in Europe next season, because I know you guys have got quite a long run. Is it 25 years of being in Europe or something? 26 years?
You see,
things
like that are what Spurs fans care about.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Fair enough. Okay. Fair enough.
I prefer not to be in Europe. I prefer not to be in Europe for 25 years, but be in it for 5 years and win a couple of trophies in Europe. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, like the Tottenham example, you were playing much better, much progressive under Pochettino, but you didn't win any trophies. But yet you've got a better chance of winning trophies under Jose. So it's the same thing. It's like, we're playing great football, we didn't win any trophies. So that's how
I feel you. Yeah, that's a good point.
Those stats for me are irrelevant.
Plus,
that's a good
it's
point.
benefited teams in the past not being in Europe. It benefited Liverpool. It benefited Chelsea.
Benefit
Yeah, that's
Chelsea.
true.
Yeah.
For a season,
Leicester as well.
it
Yeah.
can help. It can
That's
have its
true.
benefit. Yeah.
Okay. Lads, I've got to get back to work soon, so I'm grateful for the time shared. So we're looking
Thank you,
at
Olu.
possibly. You're welcome. Not counting chickens, but we're reckoning that Spurs go through on Thursday, right? These.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already
Yeah,
looking
they
at
could.
like the like the quarterfinals and who we might get. So
Okay.
Oof.
I mean the team
Arsenal,
will play
lads,
fired the
what's
coach
score
because the coach he got convicted of some crime, and I'm like, come on, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
we're gonna go up there, and we're gonna read them a lullaby and tuck them in on Thursday, and then win to the next round. So yeah,
Without Son and a semi-fit Harry Kane. Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you always say, Mo, I think these are the games where Kane's gonna feast. So I think Kane's gonna go
Yeah.
up there, maybe get him,
Farmers.
maybe get him a hat trick. And then,
Talking
I
of
think these are the
Kane,
games
lads,
where Kane's gonna feast. Before I finish with you guys, I just want to say, so you guys have, I think because you won this game, we won the first game, so I think it's aggregates. I think 3-2 now, but I mean, who's counting, right? So, but
I
who's
knew
counting,
that was coming. Aggregate.
So,
That's only gonna matter if we
It
finish
doesn't
with
work
the same
like
points
that.
on the
It
table.
doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
If we finish with the same points on the table, same goal difference, same goal scored, then that will matter more. Otherwise,
Then that
just,
will matter,
just on
yeah.
that theory, NDZ, we're unbeaten against you in the last 45 minutes. See how ridiculous that sounds. Unbeaten against Spurs for 45 minutes. How ridiculous does that sound?
Man.
You're a
Okay,
good man,
MK,
Mo.
what's the score on Thursday?
What for us?
I'm hoping he gives
Well,
some of
Arsenal.
the. Yeah, I'm hoping.
You first.
I think a comfortable 2-0, hopefully. Martinelli and Pep balling out, hopefully. Aubameyang back in the team. So, yeah, I'm hoping for a bit of rotation, but I want to see Martinelli play.
I think
I want
2-1.
to see Martinelli too. 2-1, yeah? You know
Yeah,
what?
I just can't
Guys,
see us
I'm
keeping a
gonna
clean
go.
sheet.
I'm gonna go a bit I'm gonna go a bit excited, guys. I'm going 4-2 Arsenal. Going 4-2 Arsenal.
You never know, Olympiacos are gonna come out.
the reason I'm saying
per
that,
usual.
the reason I'm saying this is that I do think Arteta will get them to start fast. I think there'll be goals against that Olympiacos defense, but unfortunately, because it's a cup game, I'll see Arsenal conceding at least one.
We will
if not
concede.
two.
We will concede.
Yeah.
That's
Interesting to see.
I think
All right,
we'll
what's the
concede.
score? What's the score prediction for the Spurs game, D's?
I think 2-0.
2-0. All right then, man. Thanks for being a sport. Happy birthday again. And we'll
Happy
see you
birthday,
Time
soon.
and lose on penalties, yeah?
Sorry? What's that, Mo?
2-0, that means we'll go to extra time and then you lose on penalties. Or did you mean 2-0 to Spurs?
Nah, 2-0 Spurs. 2-0. Actually, you know what?
I see.
I think we'll probably concede up there.
Okay.
So probably 3-1.
3-1. All right then, lads. You have a
We'll
good one.
concede up there comfortably.
You lot
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you, Ali.
concede.
Appreciate it.
All right.
All right, thanks for setting it up.